welcome to the podcast, which may feel like we've been doing for an eternity, but it's got nothing on the content that we are about to be discussing in this edition of the Dragon Ball podcast with a difference, which is very relaxed, hosted by me, and have Up on the Lookout. Now again, for those people who don't know what Up on the Lookout is, it's a Dragon Ball podcast where we discuss things to do with the franchise made by Akira Toriyama and brought to life now in manga format by Toyo Taro. Although actually, I will say, we are actually starting to hear more about Toriyama's other family members getting involved in the Dragon Ball pie. And I'll briefly touch upon that after I've introduced my trusty sidekick Haverock.
Hello, I'm Haverock and I am the storm that is approaching.
And the storm indeed that we heard is that we actually heard at San Diego Comic-Con that one of Toriyama's sons is getting involved with the family business, and it's Sasuke Toriyama.
Yeah.
And I admittedly had to do a double take, and I was thinking, really? He named one of his children Sasuke? Then again, it's a perfectly legit name, so I don't know why I was surprised. But yeah, Aki Yoku discussed at one of the Dragon Ball panels at the Comic-Con is that Sasuke is now getting more involved in the day-to-day running of the Dragon Room. So it seems like Toyo Taro isn't necessarily as close to Toriyama as we all thought. Is that in terms of illustration, yeah, maybe. But it seems like maybe on the day-to-day running of the business, in terms of the estate of Toriyama, it's most likely it's going to stay within the family, which is nice to know, and that Sasuke will probably be heading it, as in the representative of the Toriyama estate.
Look, as long as the other one isn't called Itachi Toriyama, we're all fine, I think.
Well, mind you, I mean, the whole connection with Susanoo in chapter 86 and 66, I believe, that's very, very, very telling. And speaking of that, is that it does make an appearance in this latest chapter, chapter 86 of the Dragon Ball Super manga, which I think we can all collectively say it's the end of the fight. And essentially, the next chapter will hopefully be about wrapping up the saga.
And boy, we needed that chapter.
Wouldn't you say,
needed that chapter. It should come like 3 chapters ago, but overall, I would say it right off the bat, yes, I liked it. Finally, I can say, I like this chapter.
Oh, yeah, no doubt, because honestly, I think chapter 85, which in itself was okay, it was fine, but not a lot of stuff happened. And it just felt like this would have fit better with like the Dragon Ball Z manga days when the chapters were about 20-ish pages. That would have been fine, but not for 50, because these chapters are getting longer and longer. They're like nearly, this latest chapter was 48 pages, and 46 of those were just pure content. And you feel like, I don't know whether Toyo Taro can really plump up this. This is effectively getting nearly to 2.5 chapters worth of content. And really, it would be a lot easier for everybody concerned if it was released every 2 weeks, honestly. But that's neither here or there. We've talked about it so many times. But as we alluded to and have pointed out, is that this chapter was very much necessary, as in it finally gave us a conclusion and sort of made us start to feel a little bit more sympathetic toward Gas again. Because after the last couple of months, well, since chapter 81, I think, we started to feel like we cared less about the guy. But I think it's quite clear now that I don't think Gas is going to wake up. I think he's dead, quite frankly, because, we'll talk about it more in detail later, but suffice to say, I don't think he's getting back up.
I think he'll bid farewell to his, Oil and Maki and then will wither out.
Yeah, I think so. He's not going to be getting up to fight anymore. And I mean, we'll talk about what we can expect in chapter 87, how this is going to be wrapped up and what we would particularly like. But let's talk about the chapter itself. And honestly, people were really kind of nervous about the power-up because it's not something original, because as soon as I saw it in chapter 85 right at the end, and I saw the initial pages and this is just Moro. This is just old Ram Moro, but Gas keeps rolling along, quite frankly, because it's just the same thing. But there is some discussions. His initial impact is striking because, for one, I personally think that Gas is in constant pain right now, but there is a certain adrenaline that's sort of dulling it a little bit. There's a euphoria which is masking the pain. But I imagine every single cell in his body, is burning. It's on fire. And his brain, thankfully, is converting agony into ecstasy.
I must admit, I kind of like he can use he can use the force. right now. He can like force choke Goku.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, no,
that's cool.
That's what I was gonna say next.
Like I must say, like even though like he is kind of repeat of moral, like he owns that. Look, I'm.
Oh yeah, no doubt. That's what I was gonna say next. It's like suddenly like I can snap your neck, and it's like okay.
Try Ultra Instincting from this, Goku. Oh, what, you can't? Oh, yeah. What a shame.
Yeah, I mean, but admittedly, that our whole idea is that if he was just a little bit quicker, he could have literally broken Goku's neck. Like, I don't think a Senzu Bean can fix that. So initially, that initial impact is like, whoa, okay, all right. A person of action, all right. Okay, neat. All right, that's good. And yes, again, there is more battles, and we are starting to see Goku settle into his true Ultra Instinct, which is kind of good and yet not so good. I did this discussion a few days ago, and I like the idea is that it sort of brings Frieza back in with the whole true moniker, because there is true Golden Frieza, and now true Ultra Instinct Goku. And it just shows that those two, they're the Joker and the Batman of the Dragon Ball. They're going to be intertwined for the rest of eternity, essentially. And that is something I found fascinating. But it does sort of now make Ultra Instinct now the next Super Saiyan skill tree. There is Ultra Instinct Omen, there is Mastered Ultra Instinct, there's now True Ultra Instinct. It's now starting to splinter. And I don't know whether that's a good thing.
On the bright side, all of those power ups are, and something that we discussed, like they finally realized that hey, we should do horizontal, power scaling instead of vertical.
Yeah, side grades.
Which I think would be better because like most of the characters that count will have their own transformation, not just everybody getting the same one, which I feel is slightly better, more interesting. And on the other hand, you have to imagine that like not many beings in the multiverse have really tapped into what is effectively known as Ultra Instinct. So it's largely uncharted territory in a sense, because like angels are kind of born with this, like they do not work on the same rule set. So I don't think even angels can fully comprehend like what mortals can craft with this power with this power set.
Yeah, no, agreed. It's uncharted waters in that, Goku is probably the most advanced mortal being to have ever learnt Ultra Instinct, and this is all brand new information for Whis and Goku. So this is how he's able to handle it. And even Beerus, he's not really good at Ultra Instinct. And I imagine now that in terms of advancement, Goku's quickly catching up and figuring out really what Ultra Instinct means to him. And I sort of like it ultimately because Goku always has been known to make certain attacks his own and adapting them to his own style. And this is just more of the same. And I do like the whole idea in that later on, he does go into Mastered Ultra Instinct, but only because he has no control. He can't do it himself. So it's something that he can't have, is in like the full scope of Mastered Ultra Instinct, he cannot willingly or readily use. So that is something that eludes him and keeps the chase, which is always good. And it's just indeed something really cool. And finally, we are actually starting to see more and more of Maki and Oil starting to show doubt in Ilek's plan. Like, there have been rumblings about it, but now it's actually, it's now apparent. As in, like, Maki goes like, granted, he's winning, but this is not right.
Yeah,
this doesn't seem
like, come
natural.
on, like, our brother is in trouble, like you can see that they care, and like we said, like that, like the three of the younger Peters, they care about each other. Ilek, no,
because all he talks about it's power, honestly, and even Goku is going like, your body and your power are they're not matching. As in, like, sure, you're strong, but you're not really in control of your body. So it's not really there's inertia.
You know what I bet will happen at the end? Oil and Maki will feel bad enough to actually pay Chi-Chi and Bulma all that Sky Gold.
Oh,
and they will run that it's worthless on air, but like it would be made for gags. That I like. I feel I would really like for all Oil and Maki to like become like a neutral party, like maybe informants for the Saiyans, like like minor annoyance slash reluctant allies.
Oh, so maybe like to provide information about what Frieza's up to.
Yeah.
So that's kind of cool. But I feel like at the very least, what you said about them actually paying Chi-Chi and Bob the Sky Gold, actually, that's like maybe it'd be cool if one day they just like they turn up on Earth, there's a massive bag of Sky Gold, and then like there's just a note and it says now we're even. That's all. Just like a passive aggressive like, here, we promise.
And like what I'm starting to believe might be a post-credit scene for this saga, quote. Oil and Maki return like to the Heater throne room and discover that the container of 7-3 is empty. That would be cool.
Oh,
that would be pretty cool.
Yeah, well, that's definitely one way to keep 7-3 involved in the story, because I feel like you can't just end his role right now. You can't just do that. So, yeah. But another thing we need to point out here is that Granolah is finally back in his own saga.
And he's so cool in this chapter.
Yeah, and the whole idea of him and Oatmeal working together, it's like, it's really cool. And I do like the translation on like page 19, as in like, Granolah's like, you need to let me do what I must. As in the translation, I think Kenobi had something to do with that. I feel like somebody, I think Caleb and Brandon have probably been watching a little bit of Star Wars and kind of feeling it to localize it enough to make a little homage to it, I feel like. But Granolah's not fully back up to strength because his vision is still kind of blurry, but at least he has his eyes back.
And like him working with Oatmeal is such a nice little poetic moment to wrap things up. Like it couldn't like the way he got that shot on gas, it couldn't be better. And Vegeta and Goku both contributing. This is basically what we wanted. This is
and Goku actively saying, I'll distract gas while you prepare your blast. And then like, okay, good. So I was a little bit worried that Goku would take the win, but he finally remembered, oh yeah, I'm not the main character here. Okay, here you go. I'll provide distraction and cover while you do your thing. Like, this is like the whole special beam cannon thing again. So it's like, Goku's got previous on this, and it's good to know that he actually remembered it.
And you have Granolah with Oatmeal. We're charging our attack.
yeah, exactly. And we have the whole thing of, actually, this is just really good. Like, there's a whole thing of like Gas is trying to get him and all that stuff. And then Monaito shows up to do stuff. I can
hypnotize people. I suddenly can do this.
Oh yes, I can hypnotize people. Yes, it's like, by the way, I can make people fall asleep. It's
Old
like,
man magic.
Why didn't you do that? Why didn't you do that with a leg? Like, knock him out. Like, just like put him to sleep and then just like throw him into like a capsule or something and get him off the planet. But either way, at least, with Oil and Maki being sent to sleep at the very least. Although if you think about it, I think I remember Monaito doing that to Granolah, like back in the day. But it's something that we forgot. So it's like, oh yeah, he can still do that. It would be
cool if then they learned
and he actually got involved. Oh yeah, no, that'd be cool. I mean, at least Monaito's contributing to something then, instead of just going, yeah, go Bardock, go. And he actually said, hypnosis is my one and only combat skill. It's like, that was kind of funny. It's like, I may not be able to do much, but I can do that.
One of the two things that made me laugh in this chapter, the other one was the ridiculous giant boots that Gas used.
Oh yeah, those boots were made for stomping. and that's just what they'll do. that I think it was just to show, it was more of the showing of like, this is Gas kind of just trying everything he can to beat Goku, and technically he does. And then we get Ultra Instinct coming back again, and the giant spirit Goku, and that signifies to me now, I think, as I said, this is essentially the manga equivalent of the movie version of the Spirit Bomb, as in like, that's the thing that will work. That's the thing that brings the baddie down.
That this giant Goku will have some significance later on. Like, they are building it up. I feel there will be something with it. There will be someone using similar technique, darker version of it. Like, they are building it up.
Yeah. So essentially, there is Mastered Ultra Instinct Goku's there, enough to kind of just throw Gas into space, as you do, which I think was very epic. just like, oh yeah, just yeet your enemy into orbit. Okay, that's kind of neat. And then Goku falls out of it and he does his whole, do it now, you gotta do it now. And then Granola's like, I can't, my vision's still blurry. And then Oatmeal comes in clutch and goes like, allow me to help, master. And then he does it. They work together and, it's special beam cannon fire, all that stuff. And then all these, like, it's dedicated to 5 pages of the attack striking. So I think this is like, this is the thing.
And you know,
you wouldn't dedicate that many pages.
And you know what is cool, like that Granolah, despite this whole power, can just choose. No, I'm not killing him. I'm staying true to my code, which is everything that I wanted from this boy. Because like the cool thing about Granolah, like no killing. Yeah.
He stayed true. He stayed true to his intentions because he's done with revenge. So he's like, it's all it's done is brought me even
See,
more
Toyotaro, that's how you make a good connected beginning and ending. That's how you do it. It's such a shame that it comes some late, but there we go.
Yeah, and it took a few months of fluff. But again, it's going to be the whole thing of like, when you actually look back at the whole thing, you're going to go, oh, it wasn't so bad. It's just going.
Just pretend that Bardock wasn't there, and
just you can skip through a few chapters. Like you can skip like chapter 83 at the very least. You can skip that, but either way, I like the whole idea that Granolah actually showed progress, and he came in, and as you said, that it was a group effort, because I think that was the ending that was the most realistic. Like. You have the Saiyans there, sure, they can help, but don't let them take the win. As in, like, Vegeta did his thing to, like, take away some of the heat, and then Goku was there to distract Gas, like he was doing in Chapter 81. So he was just doing more of that. So they worked together with the tenacity of a Saiyan. And, ironically, Granola's saying, oh, I have to act like Bardock just to win. I want to win. I'm a Granolah. I'm gonna win. And he did. And it kind of worked. So maybe now he's starting to see maybe not all Saiyans are bad or something like that. Even though we did have that little kind of like hot in our mouth moment when he did punch Goku in the face. And he was like, and then the heaters were going like, oh, so you still don't like Saiyans? And then eventually, unfortunately, that was
like,
kind of
what was that about?
In the bud.
Really? What? Like that was weird. That was weird. That was kind of weird. Like I was like, did he try to take him to safety to like talk about the plan? Like this scene was kind of weird, admittedly.
Yeah, I think it was probably like just his means to get him away.
Guys,
from Gas
let us know in the comments, because maybe we are dumb and we are overthinking this, but like that was a really confusing scene.
But then again, I think he heard the vision of Bardock, and he's like, please, Goku, let me do my thing. As in, like,
recordings, not
like
vision.
Strong. He said he heard the father's voice. So okay, but he heard it through his own dream.
But they were listening to the Scouter recording. So
no, that was getting at. As in, like, it was a recording, but to him it was a dream. So, but he's now kind of like going. I think he's just doing it in the only way that Goku will understand. As in, like, I have to basically manhandle you and tell you, please don't get involved. Let me do my thing. And then he accepts the whole idea of, oh, Goku will distract him while he charges up his attack. And it's like, okay. So he is willing to compromise, but he had to be a little bit forceful with Goku, which sometimes you actually have to be.
They were talking in punchish.
But they were talking in punchy. Yeah, I think that's the only way you can do it with Goku at this point. But speaking of that, what would this lead to? So what do you think this is going to lead to?
I think that at the end of the day, Elec will try to take out one more ace of his. He either will escape, which will lead to the next saga. He will try one last thing, which will, or he will try one last thing, which will be foiled, basically.
Okay, a last-ditch effort, because we still don't know what his condition was on his plan. Like, we still don't know. And what could it be? But I do like the whole idea. I mean, for a second there in this chapter, I felt like because Gas could, in theory, instant transmit anyone he wants, it would have been really funny if he was able to actually do that with Frieza. You get him in there as that trying to be efficient, and then Frieza just gets transmitted in and go, what's going on?
I think
that would have been really funny. And then
as fun as it would be, I doubt that it will happen, mostly due to the fact that I feel that whatever will be happening with Frieza is going to be in the next science project, like Goku, Vegeta, Broly.
Yeah, I feel like that's what ultimately will happen. I think if it was gonna happen, it probably would have happened by now if he was gonna be involved in this arc.
Maybe maybe in a like post-credit scene we'll listen to like we'll have him, like maybe we don't know, maybe Alec will go crawling back to Frieza.
Maybe. And then Frieza, I think Frieza would eventually give him one chance, but but make him really suffer, as in like really drag him through the dirt. Because I think he'll be, I've changed my ways a little bit, Alec. I'm going to give you one last chance, but you have to do exactly what I say. One single moment of insurrection from you, and you can kiss your life goodbye. So that kind of thing, like his life's hanging by a thread, but I feel like Frieza having that level of power and like control over essentially one of his biggest rivals.
And somebody who like betrayed him, basically.
Yeah, either that or 7-3 goes out in a blaze of glory and like grabs Elec and then just self-destructs. That's what I think would be a chaotic ending. I'd love that personally. Just 7-3 comes back in and self-destructs.
Or doesn't self-destruct and actually like uses its abilities to read all the information that Alec had. Like he drains his personality. That would be interesting. That would be fun. Oh yeah. So basically he has one of his powers to be able to like read Alec's mind and then just like neutralize him. Oh, that would be dark. So 7-3 gains all the knowledge of the heaters, and then runs off. Because at this point, like 7-3 is effectively Chekhov's gun.
Yeah, essentially. And there's a lot, I think, in these arcs which kind of hinge on what 7-3 is up to.
And like one thing that I kind of like about the manga, like it has a lot of problems, obviously, but like I like how the stuff is building up. Which is nice, like.
No, I do like that. I do like that whole idea that there are things being worked on at the moment, which could be very, very interesting further down the line. But I feel really bad that for this particular saga is that because of those 3 to 4 months of standing around and not really doing much, that I don't think this saga is going to be remembered all that well. I mean, we'll probably sit down maybe with Brandon, who's the letterer of the manga, and we'll actually like do a full saga review, and then have a look at it from the full widget, and see whether it actually holds up. But we feel really sorry for it because at the beginning it was really refreshing, really different, something good to see how Granolah developed. But there was so much dragging for so long. I think ultimately you could have cut out 6 chapters.
And at the end of the day, like the ending isn't all that surprising. We predicted a lot of it, like this ended, maybe not ending, but like this ending bit. But on the other hand, like sometimes it's better to be predictable in a way that you'd accept than to have twists for the sake of twists. We shall see how they will end it, and like if it gets animated, like like a lot of pacing problems, a lot of stuff can be fixed by adaptation.
Yeah, if this does get adapted into an anime, things could easily be shortened or lengthened. There's a second bite of the cherry in terms of being able to fix particular quirks with any particular scenario. So this isn't the be-all and end-all, but we also do need to find out what is going to happen with any potential anime that's coming next year. So we have rumors, we have a semi-legit confirmation.
For sure we are getting the continuation of Broly, Vegeta, Goku story. That is 100%.
At least in the movie.
That next movie is in production, which is like.
Yeah, honestly, I feel like the whole way Superhero performed, I think they have no choice but to do that, honestly. And that's a whole other discussion for another time. But I feel like the way that Superhero underperformed, I mean, it had a lot of things going against it. Like, 20th Century Fox wasn't doing international distribution on it. There's it was airing in 20% less screens and probably less times, and post-pandemic, there's a lot of factors going against Superhero, but surely not as much as being like half of what even Resurrection F did.
Yeah.
Like, I think Resurrection F was in like double the screen, so that's the only thing going for superhero. But I feel like, yeah, something ain't right here. I feel like the cat's kind of,
especially that this is such a good movie. It really is.
Yeah, I know. I feel like this probably might have a second life.
Yeah,
streaming, like it'll have a second life, but in terms of actually seeing it in the cinema, no. I feel like they got to go back to the drawing board. I don't think this medium's gonna work.
Yeah, Broly had the advantage of going out of like people being hungry after anime has.
Yeah. And on a technical level, what Superhero did was impressive and really innovative, that it could carry a movie like that. But unfortunately, you are going to have a lot of people who will dig their heels in saying, no, we don't want CG. We want 2D animation. And like, you can't shift that. You cannot shift that.
Like after those initial trailers, it's hard to blame those people because like when you see this initial trailer and what we ultimately got, it's like heaven and earth. And we have and we need to pushes. We actually have to tell people, no guys, go see it, it's actually very good.
Yeah, no, exactly. And that was that initial push, then months of nothing, and then 1 month to go, they kind of go, oh crap, we got a movie to promote, all hands on deck. And you feel like, wow, you screwed this up. Wow, okay, this is like a Dragon Ball movie, and like Broly was being marketed constantly 6 months before it came out. For 6 months, we were getting all these trailers and promotional stuff. That was great. Really, it was an initial push last year for Superhero, then months of nothing, and then 1 month to go. It all comes out, it's too late.
And honestly, like if anyone wants to know my opinion, I like this one more than Broly. Broly was very, very good, but this one is just chef's kiss,
Yeah. You really need to go and see it. And I booked my tickets for the 18th of August to go and see it in Leicester Square. So I'll be there going seeing it. And I think in the same theatre I saw Resurrection F in. So it'll be interesting. But the screen for it is like really small. You can maybe get 50 people in it. So it's like, okay, all right. I'll go see it. I want to see it. And I'll see people. And yeah, I'll bask in the atmosphere in the theatre. So I feel like there'll be a nice aura within that. But we're talking about the superhero. We're meant to be talking about chapter 86, and ultimately we think this was a chapter that was very much needed.
Yeah, a little bit predictable, but like it's not like, oh my god, it's so predictable. It's more like, oh, at least they did what we hoped would happen.
Yeah. At least they did that.
It's a sigh of relief, not a sigh of disappointment in this case.
Yeah. No, agreed. No, definitely agreed. So I'd say that it's managed to somewhat stick the landing.
Yeah, we'll see if nothing weird will, come out next, like transferring Gas's power after Gas is dead.
Oh no!
Please no. I know, but let's wait.
The only way you could make that work is if you had he absorbs the power, and then Granolah does the whole thing with Ironmonger in the first way. Yeah, you remember the icing problem? Icing problem? You might want to look at that. And then boom, Elect's body explodes.
That would be that would be funny.
If you had that, that would be funny. That would be funny. Okay, I'll allow that either way. Hope everyone enjoyed that chapter, and thank you very much for joining me. And if you like this podcast, do give us a follow on your podcasting platform of choice. It really helps us out. And we shall see you again very soon for either the next chapter of the Super Manga, or if any big Dragon Ball news drops. So take care everyone until then, and we shall see you again very soon.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da!